Hey everyone, welcome to episode 6 of Resinate, a BJD podcast. And today we have our special guest, Kosomolski Dolls, who also goes by Lena. Welcome, welcome. We're so excited to have you here. Yay!
Hi.
You're our first guest, and I'm really excited. So it's such a different vibe, you know? I
Yeah,
should
we're
bring
a
my
lot
dog.
more awkward now. It's like, oh god, professional
You're
around
the
here.
professional. So we start off like podcast usually showing off a doll that we've brought to share and let everybody know who we have. So why don't you start us off, Lena?
Yeah, since I watch your podcast, I know you always bring a doll, and I guess everyone who follows me knows that my minifee Ruth is my everything. So yeah, it was obvious I would get her.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Did you make her clothes or did you buy them?
I bought them.
That's cool.
I I know how to sew, but I have very few time, and yeah, so
It's okay.
I
That's
have.
more than me.
Yeah, no, I buy most of my clothes. So yeah.
No, that's all good. It's all good. We've got support artists and everybody else who contributes to the hobby. So it's all good.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's why mine are still naked. When I rely on myself, they're all naked, as history has indicated. So
Yeah.
yeah, let's go around. I guess like it's kind of cool. We got quadrants. So Avari.
All right. So this is Jacqueline. I call her Jack. She's a mini female with like the vampire teeth. I think she's an event head for that one. She's actually on the Momo body, but it's dye black. So she looks a little bit like a wolf. This is from Sparrow Shop. The ears are also from Sparrow Shop, but they are supposed to be for Little Fee, not her. Her ears are gonna come in later.
She's super
But
cute.
thank you. All right, your turn over.
It was a mini fee day apparently because today I brought my mini fee boy. He's got like the full set, but he doesn't have the center part. He has the goat legs.
Oh,
So
show, please.
I bought him secondhand. They're a work in progress, but they pose really cool,
Oh,
which I thought would be fitting to show off because they have the deer coming out real soon. You can see hooves. There's still some paint from the last owner and stuff. I'm gonna be painting him here soon. But yeah, he's a really cool doll. He stands like a rock with his feet.
yeah, Fairyland makes really good like fantasy part lately.
Definitely. Yeah, very cool. Well, I do not have a mini face, so I'm gonna buck against the trend. And I will show you a doll that I don't know if I'm gonna keep, but I've had her forever. And this is a custom house SD size
Oh.
sleeping Mia. So she was made in like the early 2000s, and she's wearing Muse dolls. So I that's why she has clothes, because if it was on me, they would still be naked. But yeah, and she has a rolling pumpkin face up. And like back in the day, like their dolls were really expensive. This was an event doll, and I think she was like $800, which is like crazy to me now. Like given how the market's changed quite a bit. So yeah, but she's definitely not worth that much anymore. But I'm always wondering if I want to keep or sell her, because it's an older aesthetic, but at the same time, I can't really get her again if I do sell her. So forever conundrum. But that's what I got today.
Adorable
So,
though. You
thank
guys
you.
dolls today.
Yeah. And so I guess everyone has minifee, and I have like the SD doll, which is funny because I personally prefer the 1/4 size, but I'm like, she's dressed. So I'll be different today.
You know
So
what? It's
mhm,
time for you to jump on the mini face train.
I want to,
It's
but I
your
feel like
trigger.
I want the most perfect one. It's just like I like Luha, because like the more that Nova posts her picture, I'm like, I like how her features seem very
Oh my
delicate
god,
and
right?
dainty. Yeah, but I'm like, do I want to? I'm just like, but if I do buy a mini fee, I don't really want a bunch of them. I just want one. So I want to get like the most perfect one. And I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever get one because I'm like, I
Mhm.
just wanted to buy like, like the one, if you have like various dolls, I try to limit myself just to one, or it's like one, normal resin skin color, or like beige peach tone, and then I can get the tan one and maybe a fantasy. That's it. No more. No more. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I do like Luha quite a bit, and I think once I see owner photos come in, I might get a mini fee one day and see what it's all about. I mean, I do
You
want to.
probably
I
should.
saw one in person, but I'm like, do I want one? I'm like,
You probably should. Luha is really pretty. Like the more I look at her, the more I like her. And that's really not good because I already have 2 minifigs, and that's already double the amount I want.
yeah, you want to stick with one, but then
Yeah.
I guess that's why some people have minifig collections is because like you just can't stop with one like Nova.
Oh my god, yeah. Just
I
keep
feel that.
going.
I think
For
I'm
sure.
at 5 now, almost.
Definitely. So yeah, so Lena, feel free to jump in whenever you want to comment. Like it's all good. Like for us, we're just chill, just talking. And we did prepare an episode today where we talk about, inside the hobby. And I guess part of the feature of that would be, bullying in the hobby. So it's like I said, it's a roundtable discussion, and we'll start with like, what are the common forms of bullying that you guys see in the hobby?
Um, I mean, I don't firsthand see it because I don't know if I just keep away from drama people, but I know that some people get bullied because they don't, for example, have minifig dolls, but other like resin soul. Is it resin soul?
Yeah, resin soul.
Yeah, right. So because they are cheap and people are like, yeah, that doll is not as good as mine. And yeah, I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit about something like that a few episodes before. Like it
Mm.
was, I think I remember that I mentioned about the resin soul thing. Yeah, I feel like I still see it. I still see it like these days. I think like just yesterday I saw someone like complaining that resin soul is so shitty, even though they don't have one. I was like, how would you know? How would you know if you don't have one? Like I'm not talking shit on like other dolls. It's just each company have their own thing, and I think Resin Soul is amazing for willing to go all the way to like for like custom things. I have seen dolls with like 6 arms, which is crazy because they do that. Other
Yeah,
companies don't.
yeah, I've heard a lot about that they do color matching, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and as you say, a lot of general custom stuff. And I mean, I know a few people who have resin soul dolls, and um, what they say, they are really good quality. They pose nicely. They have a nice range of motion, and I mean, I can see how you may think they are not as good when you look
When you look
at the photos
the
of
company photo, yeah.
yeah, because I mean, yeah, the photos are really bad. But I mean, I guess if you don't have to pay a professional photographer, uh, you can sell your dolls cheaper, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but everything I've heard so far of these dolls is that they are pretty good. So yeah.
You know what? Resin Saw, you should sponsor us because we bring your name up here.
Okay, Amari. Yeah, it's weird because I don't know why there's just such animosity towards people buying what they can afford. That being said, I don't think you should only buy the cheapest. I do think that there's value in saving to get what you actually do want. But if
Mhm.
you do like the resin soul dolls, there's like no shame in that. And realistically, some people might be like, I like BJDs, but I really just want to buy one that I can afford like now, then that's okay too. And it's just weird that people hate on different brands just because art is so subjective. And I just don't get it. Like I always think that you must be pretty presumptuous to think that somebody has like bad taste. I'm like, how good is your taste? For you to kind of be a jerk to somebody else. But yeah, it's something that I don't comprehend. And I know, and I don't mean to say this like towards any Volks owner back like now or back in the day, but like I remember Volks early on in the hobby, they had like the reputation for being the elitist company. And the weird thing is that once you actually talk to some of the Volks doll collectors, they're like really, really nice. So I just kind of wonder if like, this is all something that, and that's the thing, like, I don't think that it's elitist to only buy one type of doll. You might like how they all look from one company. Like a lot of Volks owners tend to stick with the brand and buy lots of Volks dolls, and that's totally okay. But that doesn't make you an elitist unless you're gonna be kind of kind of showing and demonstrating elitist attitudes with it, right?
Yeah, I think to me it's always kind of how the doll is styled is what I look at, as opposed to like which company it is or how much it is. I just kind of look at how the owner presents it more so.
That's a good point. I do see a lot of like people who just. I actually met this person. Met this one in person. He had a. It was like an artist doll. I think it was a bumblebee. He brought it to a local meetup. It's not. It wasn't in Canada. It was in like Vietnam, my home country. He brought it to the local meetup, and he was just spawning, if like just fawning it around. We're like, yeah, I have the most expensive dolls there are. I'm like, literally nobody care about that because his dolls wasn't even like she didn't have clothes or anything on her. Like she did have a face up. I'm sorry for Peter. But what I'm saying, it's a different in attitude.
I think
She didn't
so.
have,
Like, if
yeah.
you're gonna be, I guess, like behaving like that, I would think that at least your doll would have clothes, maybe a face
Yeah.
too. Otherwise, it's kind of weird that you just bring this like naked,
Yeah.
blank
Like that's
doll.
what he did.
Working practice.
Yeah,
He
acting
actually
better than
brought a
everything
naked
else.
doll with the face up, no wig, no clothes, and he was just fawning it around like he's all that because he has the most expensive doll at the meet.
That's weird. That's really weird. And it's also
Yeah.
very polarizing behavior because it's like, okay, your dolls are expensive, but does that mean I can't talk to you because mine isn't expensive? I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
it's weird.
legit. He was just standing in the corner and stared down at us, and we were just like, "What's happening?"
This is so, I don't know. I cannot understand why you would do that. I mean,
Yeah, me neither.
yeah,
Yeah.
like okay, so you can buy a very expensive doll. Okay, good for you. That doesn't make any of the other dolls less good.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no patience for people like that.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah.
just
For
mean
sure.
spirited.
I try not to interact with those people. It's just too much to handle. They just like, okay, you can be in your own world. I'm gonna be in everyone else. Like just a collective bubble.
Do you
Yeah.
guys think that this is something that is across all age aspects, or is it just, you find it more so with younger people, or what factors do you think contribute to that?
I don't think it's an age thing. Um, I mean, as I said, I don't usually see stuff like that firsthand, but when I get told stories like this, it's usually through many different ages. So I don't know.
It. I don't think it's an age thing. I have seen it happen to like a wide range of people. So it can just happen to anyone.
Yeah, I really don't think age is a factor either.
Wealth might be wealth might be a problem, but not age.
Yeah. I think because at that point, the more money you spend, there's that philosophy that, it is better, which is not always the case.
Mhm.
But then, you start getting into the snooty, wealthy behaviors that people, like to say, oh, I have this designer purse or I have this designer doll.
Oh my
It's
god.
the same across all hobbies, right? It's not unique just to dolls. So I guess a good segue into like what we had been talking about too is that, that would probably be a subtle form of like, I guess, not necessarily bullying, but maybe picking on, but like full blown bullying. This is a testy topic. We have confession blogs and we have Instagram accounts that, make fun of other dolls. And I don't know how we got to this point, but we are. And like your general thoughts on it. Like, is there any upside to it whatsoever? And you can be like, oh no, maybe I don't think so. It's just horrible. It's very toxic. Or is there some things that you like in them? Like, it's gonna be a controversial topic.
Not for me. I don't see any good in stuff like confession blogs or certain BJD flop accounts. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just don't see why you would do that. Why you would, I mean, like talking to your friends about stuff is one thing, but posting more or less public this, I don't see why you would do that. Why you would want to make people feel bad.
It reminds me of those pictures people post of like their dog, and they say like he chewed up the owner's shoes or something like that. But yeah, I think it's really it's honestly pretty like mean to have blogs like that. Like I don't really know what they're going for.
Yeah, I think the tagline of like BJD flops is like we all start somewhere, which is understandable, but it feels like that whole blog just feel like it's like a very mean girls type, you know? Like they have a burn book and they just kind of be writing things in it.
I mean, we all start somewhere, yes. But
Yeah.
if you want to make an account like this, where you kind of show, look, this is the first face up of this big account or whatever, then I don't see why you can't just make it on a submission basis, like where you yourself can enter. For example, where I could send in here, this is my first attempt of a face up. Please go and roast me, but not going and I don't know. Let's take Avari's first face up and go roast her. I just don't see why you would do that.
Yeah, so kind of like what you're suggesting is kind of like a roast me page, like on Reddit.
That would actually be more fun. Like if it was themed,
Yeah, I feel so.
a lot more like fun spirited, but it's just kind of like mean spirited right now the way they have it set up.
That's a fun idea, actually.
Maybe put that on the Discord, Avari.
I might. If we have more people, join our Discord.
For sure. So I think like it's interesting to me about all that, because I think it all kind of started like back in the day. I'm like the old lore kind of person here. We have Den of Angels, and then you had Den of Demons, right? And then I don't know if you guys were around when Den of Demons was up and running, but Den of Angels was kind of like the happy cookie cutter place where people would only say positive things, and in the Den of Demons, people would just kind of let their name, like would just kind of like let it flow. And it's interesting to me because some of it was just mean, like really realistically, some of it was just flat out mean, but other stuff, like there was a community built in it, and I never hid under my name. I posted there as well too, but it got a little bit too mean spirited for me, and I ended up bouncing because there was a click, and there was, so in addition to that, there were some sub forums that were only for people who were in the know, which actually I think was like worse and like meaner, and I never had access to any of that stuff. But I feel like that kind of spawned, like, you could like identify, like they had eye poison, the opposite of eye candy, and you can like talk about the Sharpie dolls, and there's some problematic owners that they did call out without a doubt. I think, I don't know if you guys know like Kazakai, I think that's who it was, but they have like so much stuff about them because they would manipulate situations where they would also get dolls. They, I think, stole some people's dolls. What else did they do? They did a lot of the Sharpie face ups and then put blood on their dolls. So it was like a really, yeah, it was an interesting time in the hobby.
Oh yeah, that person was pretty infamous.
Yeah, and I think they actually had like an article, because they not only did they like they weren't only just in the doll community, but they transcended into other areas, and those behaviors that are scammy and manipulative and predatory, because somebody was new, they had a doll, and I think they also did stuff like trying to get dolls out of them by using their status and their clout. But that's predatory behavior. Those are all things we can like call somebody out on without a doubt. But like, if you want to Sharpie your doll, I really don't care what people do with their property. You pay for it, it's yours. You can set it on fire, do an art project. That's fine. But I don't know. I just feel like if people want to give feedback, and it's not because it's all about cotton candy and fluffy marshmallows or whatever, but one rule of feedback that I learned, especially in the workplace too, is that you don't ever offer criticism unless people ask you for it. And otherwise it's just unwanted. Like, because what do you want to do by giving somebody criticism that they didn't ask for? What are they going to do with it? They're like, I didn't ask you for it, so I don't care. It's just going to be, hostility. And maybe they could use some of that info, but they just don't care what you think. Like, ultimately, so you're already at opposite, conflicting goals. You're like, you should do your doll better, and they're like, I like my doll as is. Like, what's the point? I just feel like it's unnecessary.
I had that happen to me before. It was actually on my first face up too. Like, I posted on Instagram and it was for a friend and she liked it. But then I posted it because I'm like, oh yeah, like this is my first face up for this person, blah blah, things like that. And then I'm like, then I think I asked for like opinion, and oh no, I asked if there's any tips on how to do it better. And this one guy just jumped into my comments and was like, yeah, no, it looks ugly as hell.
That's not a tip.
I know, I'm like,
not a tip.
excuse me.
That definitely isn't helping for sure. I think the first like 10 face ups I did were terrible.
Oh.
It took a while before I got happy with mine. Oh, she's trying to jump off.
Oh my god. Yeah, because my leg hit the table and everything just started shaking.
Yeah, I mean, whose first face up was perfect? Like,
yeah, like
yeah.
you have to. You
Sure,
actually have
like
to
not
start
your first
somewhere.
one if it is perfect.
It's crazy how some people just expect to be like good at something immediately, or like just expect someone else to be good at something immediately. It's just not gonna happen. That's not reality. What are you, an anime protagonist?
Right.
All faces are quite hard to work on too. There's just so many like options there, so it's definitely way different than a lot of things I've ever painted.
Yeah, and I feel like it's really rare that somebody would be really good at the first face up too. It's either they painted or they've had practice on other like three-dimensional doll heads to do a face up. But I remember one of my friends, she was a phenomenal artist, like comic book artist, and she got into dolls and it did not translate 2D to 3D. It was definitely a lot more complicated. And
oh my god,
I'm so distracted. I'm like,
my old cat wanted to get in on this.
oh, yeah. So yeah, but it's just like there's always going to be learning curve for any new skill, and you can keep practicing because the more you do it, you're going to get better at it.
Yeah, I mean, when I started, I got my first BJD in 2016, and I think I painted her at the beginning of 2017 because I didn't dare to do it earlier, which is stupid, but whatever. And I mean, I have drawn and painted forever, and I have started with customizing fashion dolls in the beginning of 2015. So I did have a bit of experience, and yet my first face up on a minifee, Chloe, it was that didn't look very good. But it's interesting to see how you get better, because the same Chloe I have repainted twice by now, and when I see them the pictures next to each other, yeah,
I mean, it's a glow up.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you still own that Chloe?
What?
Do you still own it?
Yes.
The doll? Oh wow. So that's
Yes.
like a 4 years old doll.
Yes.
I don't think
thought about
any of my girls like that.
I thought about selling her in 2018 because I didn't really bond with her. And then I don't know, one day I Oh, it was because of what's her name, Louisa. She did Kiss My Resin challenge, where you get a doll that you don't take out very often and take a picture where you kiss it. And yeah, and I did that with my Chloe, and afterwards I was like, I don't think I want to sell you. And I sat down and I actually sewed for her.
Oh.
And when I got her in that outfit, I was like, oh my, hi. And yeah, I don't know. It was as if she just needed a new outfit
That is
or
a
a
more
new character.
attention.
Yeah, and yeah, I fell in love with her again, and she's still with me. I should
How
not
many dolls do you have, like in general?
too many.
I feel that.
um, I think you guys said you were at around 20 in the last podcast, and I think I'm about double.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like, but that's the thing. Like, it's all different for each collector, right? Like, I think 40 would
Yeah.
be too much for me, which is fine for other people. So I'm like, okay, whatever makes you happy.
I have about 20 and I don't even like remember all their names. I
I
keep
don't
forgetting them all the time.
I remember all of my names, and they all are somehow connected in their story somehow. And yeah, I don't want to let go of any of them.
Yeah, it's okay. If you can keep them, keep them.
Yeah.
And I think it's very sentimental too, because like you like a doll, you work on the doll, whether you make things or you paint them, you buy things for them too. It's like, I don't know, I tend to be very sentimental with my objects, which is why it's hard to let go of things. And I wish I could just like get them in, one out. And I'm like, no, I'm like, but I like you. And then that's the thing, like when you mentioned with your Chloe that you started touching her and like playing with her. And I think that's a good thing to also not spend money, because once you start getting in tune with your collection or even handling them and dressing them and playing with them, I feel like I'm pretty happy with what I have. I really probably don't need another doll. But if another one comes and you're like, okay, sure. But and money is like a concern too for people who might not have as much disposable income for dolls. Like I found out that the more you play with your dolls, the less you want. But like I said, if you want another one down the road, okay, but you could be pretty content with what you have like in front of you, right?
I was pretty content with mine, and then Fairyland was like, let's chop off 2/3 of our sculpts, and yeah, but I only bought one.
They got mad about that.
Good self-control.
I'm still tempted to get a Wusu because of that. My very first BJD was a Wusu. They're so cute.
And you
Yeah,
sold
for
him
the
off? Is
nostalgic
that what
push.
happened, Nova?
Oh no, I ended up giving him to my mom. She seen my collection one day. She
Aw.
felt, I was like, okay, well, I guess you could have one. And she picked, of course, my very first one. That was years ago too. That was quite a long time ago. She's not around anymore, but
Oh.
it was a cool experience. I totally gave it to her, and I don't know whatever happened to him, but I think she had him for like pretty much most of the rest of the time she was around.
Oh, wow. That's sad that you couldn't get the Wusu back.
Yeah, I didn't get the chance to because I lived far away at the time. She lived where my brothers are. I mean, I've been tempted to ask them, hey, whatever happened to that doll? Yeah, that was my very first sculpt, was a Wusu.
Aw, yeah, that's very sentimental.
I don't think I would have given my very first doll away in any other occasion.
Yeah.
But she like fell in love with him.
Yeah, definitely. I actually sold my first doll, and it was hard. It was such a hard decision because it was the open-eyed molded doll, and I was like, I'm never going to sell her, but I don't play with her. So I was trying to really keep who I was touching and playing with, and she went to a collector who really liked her, and then they redid her, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, she looks so different, but they're actually playing with her. But those are hard decisions, especially if like they're discontinued and companies aren't going to be around. You're like, ugh.
Oh yeah, so tempting. Just for the nostalgia of it.
Yeah. I mean, you can probably just get ahead.
Yeah, I could probably find it secondhand because I've seen them floating around before and have been highly tempted.
The price gonna go up after this, so
Better
get your
hurry.
chance. I saw my first doll too, but I saw it to a friend. I saw it to Joko. She still has her. She still has her to this day, and she like give her makeup and stuff, like face up, clothing, much more than I could have given her at the time. So I'm happy for her.
Very
It's
cool.
always cool to be able to see dolls that you've sold kind of get the glow up and see where they
Yeah.
wander out beyond you.
Yeah, I get happy. I'm like happy that she has like the attention she deserves. Because when she was with me, she just gathering dust. So
Yeah, I definitely can relate. So in addition to the fail pages and the confession pages, there's also the recast pages, and hand in hand with recasts go the witch hunts. And yeah, I think that's a really complicated subject, but what are your thoughts on all of that? And I think the most recent one was the Instagram account from the Russian collectors.
oh yeah, that
Yeah.
one. I think it's okay. It's not like okay to dox people, obviously, but I think it's relatively okay to to let people know, oh, who's sending dolls to recast them to get them recasted. So we like stay away from that account, try not to sell them the scope that they already don't have and the recast they're looking for. But if they are no longer supporting recast, I don't think they should have put that on this on the account.
Yeah, there was some cases where people had since gone legit and they had still posted recasts that they think that they had at one point. I thought that was kind of harsh because if you're trying to go legit, you should be welcome in the community, not shunned.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my opinion as well, because like Avari said, when you have especially face-up artists and they have sent heads or whatever dolls to recasters, I would want to know that, because I would not want to support someone like that, and by that indirectly support recasters. I think if someone has done that in the past and has now gone legit, I think that should be acknowledged. I mean, I don't expect anyone to be best friends with someone like that, but I think words are hard.
It's okay.
I don't know how to say that. I think, yes, like you said, if someone used to support recasts but now doesn't anymore, that person should be welcomed in the community, because people make mistakes. I have a few friends who actually used to own recasts, and they now don't. I mean, I don't know if they still own the recasts, but they don't buy any anymore. They all only buy legit now, and yeah, that's enough for me. But if someone still supports that, especially artists where you send your dolls to, I would like to know. I don't
My biggest fear would be that they would like take a rare head that they got and send it that wasn't theirs if they're doing that and doing face-ups. That's kind of like touchy. Like how would somebody know that they aren't sending the face-up commissions to him?
Yeah, that's why I say I would not want to
Mhm.
support someone like that. But if
Yeah.
that's all in the past, I think, yeah.
Like,
It's
yeah, that's I think one of the cases is that the artist already stopped like collecting recasts, like they went legit, but the account still kind of dig up their past and post it on, which I think is kind of weird. Like, why are you doing this? Like, they're not doing it in the presence. They already like warned off recasts.
Yeah, they almost feel like a wall of shame or something at that point.
Yeah, like, why are you hunting them down?
Yeah, I think the entire thing was strange. And I actually did what Nova did. I had a Russian collector reach out to me and said that she was going to block anybody who followed that new page, at least specific to this incident.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked her a lot. And she makes shoes and I need a cord wainer for my doll. So I'm like, that's important. But at the same time, she did tell me some information that, that it's a complicated situation because, in Russia, wages are low, and even in the US, like, wages are also low depending on where you live. Dolls are expensive, but you're asking people who could, like, it's like months of salary to buy this doll that they don't know. I'm not justifying it by any means, but she did offer that perspective, is that people, she didn't like recast, but people who don't have very much money, and it'd be like anywhere between like 3 to 6 months, maybe even more of salary,
Mm-hmm.
buying these dolls to see if they would like it before they bought the real one. And there's that wait. And I don't think you need a recast as an entry level. There's enough collectors that I think somebody would be more than happy to meet out with you. But that being said, that person did purchase one, but then afterwards they realized they liked the doll, got rid of the recast, and then went legit. So I wonder how many people are in that situation, and again, it's not a great one, but I don't know. It's tough to say because, we live in countries where, everything is priced in US dollars. And if you're in Europe, you're the euro, which is worth more than the US dollar. So higher cost of living wages make it easier to access a luxury hobby. That doesn't mean you should go and rip off artists in order to get things that you can't afford. I don't know. It's a touchy subject, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's definitely something. It like the conversion rate is definitely something that had stopped me in the past to get a doll because, oh, it doesn't look that bad. But when it's in USD and then I converted it to Canadian dollars, and I was just like, wow, that cost me like 6 months of working.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, and like with the whole shipping nowadays, especially with COVID, it's too much.
right. And so with that lady, she did tell me that it's come up, but no one knows who runs that account. And I know that there's like guesses on who might be running the account, or multiple people are involved. But I do agree that, like, people who've gone legit, I don't understand the purpose in digging that out. And she also told me there was a customizer they dragged who has never owned recast, never worked on recast. And I didn't know who that person was. Her name was like Elena something. Never saw her account before, but she was being identified as somebody who was involved, and she's like, I was never involved. So I don't know how accurate the information is. And after hearing that, and I asked the lady, I'm like, I just want to know what's going on, but simultaneously, like, I don't want you to block me too. I actually took a page out of Nova's book, and I just ended up unfollowing that account just because it just seems like a lot of drama that I don't need in my life. Like, ultimately, at the end of the day, that's not drama I want or need. And the fact that so many people have spoken out and said that, I might have had recasts in the past, but now I'm a legit, or, this information is not even accurate. I don't want to follow an account like that. But that being said, if people want to follow it, that's okay, because you want to be aware of what's going on. But I almost feel like if that happens, then you have to take everything with a grain of salt, what's being
Yeah.
said there.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's too reliable, and I always try to avoid the ones that are just straight drama. And it's like, are you actually trying to be a reliable source of information, or are you just like stirring the pot here?
I think the anonymity is like unnerving because no one knows who it is. And that lady was telling me that she said they have no idea who's spreading all that stuff, who owns that account. There's guesses, but no one knows definitively sure who's doing that. And I don't know. I just sometimes feel like that also seeks to cause division in the hobby. And then you have people messaging people who might have gone legit to go like destroy and burn their dolls. I'm like, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
It's also a little bit the cowardly side too, because it's just like you have that, you're hiding behind the fact that you're anonymous. So you can kind of say things that you probably wouldn't say otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
That as well, but also the you have to burn your recasts and stuff. One of my friends that I know I think still owns the recast. I'm not sure. Whatever. At least they got the recast as a present from their partner, and I can understand why you would not want to get rid of that, because the partner obviously didn't know better, and they thought they would make them happy. So I'm glad my girlfriend knows about that stuff, because I don't know if I would how I would handle that.
Yeah, the situation is a little, I can see why it can get sentimental, because like, oh, your partner, your family member like gave it to you. Yeah, like when I get into the hobby, I make sure that my fiance know what I'm doing and what it is. Like, I make sure to let him know, like, oh yeah, this is not something I want. Like, don't ever buy it from AliExpress or something like that.
Well, it'd be hard to tell too if you weren't in the know with dolls, because
Yeah,
a lot of the first searches you find are recast junk sites.
yeah,
And how would somebody who just seen on the outside of the hobby someone collecting and wanted to give them something, how would they tell?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's the other thing, that these people make it so easy to accidentally buy them. If you're a newbie and you don't know where to look, because you just go buy a BJD, guess where you end up? AliExpress and eBay maybe, but definitely not any legit.
They
yeah,
must be
not a
paying
legit
people
company.
like twice as much to bump their ad up or something, is what I was thinking. Like they're just really good at advertising.
Yeah, the websites are really good, if not better than a lot of the doll websites, because a lot of them are still stuck in like Angel Fire GeoCities in the 90s. It's terrifying. Like it looks like it's not secure. And like the recast websites, they actually look more legit than the legit company websites at times. Like, remember when and I mean I love Denver Doll, I really do, but that website before was horrible.
Oh my god,
And
yeah.
it looked like it was a scam website.
But
Yeah, no,
definitely
that's true.
straight out of the 90s or something.
They're getting there. They're getting there. Denver Doll has changed. So hoping so are other companies, agency.
For sure. And it's just like it's complicated because like even before, now I can ask you guys about Zoom and their ordering periods. I don't understand. I'm like, why do I have to Google? And you cannot find it anywhere, like how to order from these companies or how they do their ordering periods. Like I don't understand why they don't do like an FAQ, like how to order from the site. Like it's period ordering, but then you have to ask people. And if you see it available, you're like, oh, okay, they don't have it out of stock. Let me get it from this company. And I think people don't realize like, these are all, casted items that, come from like a distinct entity. But then of course it gets complicated because you have agents and dealers and everything. So it's easy to get tripped up in it. But I think if you do knowingly buy a recast, then yes, that's a huge problem. But it gets definitely very gray if you're gifted one. And I guess people have been saying they were gifted one as a default excuse, or so people say. I don't know. It's complicated.
I know someone who owned recast because their family member gifted it to them. So they just don't do anything about it. They just like have it sit there in the corner and not taking photo, not touching it, not even mentioning it anywhere. Like, which is, I think, is fair. I think that's like one of the best way to deal with it. Like, oh yeah, because it has something with it.
Value,
I forgot the
sentimental
word.
value.
Yes, there's
Yeah,
no
I
word.
think so. Realistically, and I think this is going to be somewhat of a hard question because even for myself, you see somebody who has a recast, whether it's gifted or not. How do you feel about buying things from them? Would you want to buy a doll? Would you ever feel compelled to buy a doll from them? I guess maybe if they had like the COA, proof of purchase, the box, and all that stuff. But I don't know. Sometimes I feel like that's a roadblock for me mentally. There was a really prolific collector who had a ton of like counterfeit doll chateau dolls, but then they've since gone legit. But like I always worry that if I bought something from them, would it be legit? I don't know. It's
They pulled a switcheroo on you or something.
because that's apparently a thing, I guess. Like I don't know how common it is, but I feel like once like a one instance of that happening is stressful. It's stressful.
I think I saw some account like that. Like I saw someone who got like a mini fee and the head was legit, but then the body was a recast.
Oh.
So like
Oh.
You end up getting refunded for that, or how did that ever end?
I don't even know. Like apparently she bought it from someone secondhand, and then she like it came in the box and everything. But then one day she was just checking she didn't have any like spare hands to switch it out or something like that. So I guess she didn't know about the hand switching to check if it's legit. So one day she was just like cleaning the dolls, I think, and she found like a weird mark on the wrist. And she started asking people like, "Oh yeah, do your dolls have this? Why does it look so weird?" And everyone's like, "Oh no, that's like a recast mark."
It'd
She
be like
was
a nightmare
devastated.
scenario too, is finding your brand new doll as a fake.
Oh yeah,
That'd be really
it's
harsh.
rough.
But I also wonder, like, I think one instance of that happening is enough to make people paranoid because it totally makes me paranoid. But does it like because I know that there's some legit dolls that might feel recasty just because of the markings. I know with Miniface, some of them didn't have markings early on, but that causes alarm in people. And I remember like some people were scrutinizing some of the ball joints, but they're like, this is legit. So I don't know who would you believe at that point. I feel like it's just it's
Yeah.
just stressful.
Go with your instinct, I guess, because like
Yeah.
it's hard. Like if they want to scam you, they gonna.
Yeah, I don't know.
All
Yeah.
right, guys. I know this is a little bit side step to the conversation, but I just went on Facebook for just a second, and the first post that popped up is a sale post of an old doll that I sold like
Oh.
a few months ago.
Oh wow.
I sold it for I guess about like $200. I think it's even less than $200 because it's like a tiny doll. This person is selling the exact same one for 450.
It's okay. That happened to me when I was telling you about a doll I sold to somebody, and I was like, it was hard enough for me to sell at that price.
Yeah.
That I don't think she's going to be able to sell. I mean, I sold her for a lot less, and I'm in the U.S., so
Like they trying to talk it up as like a super rare doll or something. I'm like,
Mm.
I mean it is rare, but I think it's because not a lot of people were interested in it, so the artist didn't make more. But yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I'm just like, whoa.
So
Whoa.
that's a good point because now we can go into another topic. It just
Oh,
salt.
nice.
So are you feeling a little bit salty, Avari?
Just a little bit.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, so like salt in the hobby, and I think Lena has mentioned this a few times as well. Is that why is everybody so salty? Like, I don't think our group is salty. I think we're just more like, oh my god, there's so many fantasy dolls. How are we going to afford this? But other people who are like focused on, I don't know, like nitpicking and other things. Like we're not psychiatrists. We can't diagnose anything. But why do you think people are so bitter about many things that should be enjoyable to everybody?
I think it's pride. I legit think it's pride. Like a lot of people are proud of their like certain doll company, and then they just like, oh yeah, I'm better than you because I got the more expensive dolls. I've seen a lot of people like that. It's weird to me.
Yeah, I don't know. The I'm sorry. Words
okay.
are hard today. I forgot what I wanted to say. It's okay.
Okay, so
We'll get back to that.
yeah, so, yeah, so it's about being salty. Why do you think people are salty? You know, that kind of thing. So what do you think about that?
The confession blogs, because I mean, like I said, the anonymity people have without having to expose who they are and their bad opinion kind of creates a salty environment.
Yeah, like it gives, I
People
guess.
like the drama too.
That's true. Yeah, I think there's some things that a lot of people think about certain people or, you know, in the hobby, but, you know, those might be best if you just have a private conversation with somebody. Like, you don't need to put them on blast. And, you know, anytime you vent about a coworker or colleague who's just frustrating you, it doesn't mean you hate said colleague, but you're just frustrated at the time. But,
Yeah.
you know, I kind of wonder, are people just frustrated all the time that they submit these anonymous confessions? Or is it just like, I don't know, it's hard not to see as fires and flames and people fanning them. And I'm gonna name names now, but I do feel, you know, bad for like, you know, Sheepy and like I guess Melon Pan Market, because now like I don't see them being so controversial, and yet constantly they get they get so much hate, and it's almost unnerving. And while I might not like some of the work that they do because art is totally subjective, they have, you know, fans. I just can't imagine about someone like confessing you nonstop, like about you and your partner nonstop every single day, every hour. Like that's gotta wear on you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
they're on there a lot.
they are.
What happened to a friend of me? They were actually on some of those confession blogs, and it was something along the lines of every time I see their dolls, I just wanna, I don't know, scream, and they all stare and whatever. And I'm like, you know, you can just unfollow. You don't, nobody is, yeah, I mean, nobody is forcing you to follow someone, to look at their dolls if you don't like them. So what's the big deal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just unfollow. Like
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Go find eye candy if you think it's eye poison.
Yeah. Exactly. I just don't get like every like I don't know if it's one person or multiple people. Again, the anonymity does not help the situation. But I can imagine like confessing about somebody that much with that much like vitriol and hatred that like you're just your every waking moment is just circling around what they do and like what every little thing, every little word they say. Like I don't know. I feel like at that point I might just call it quits on social media for a bit and come back later, because I don't know, people make mistakes in the hobby. And I know that, you know, I guess we'll talk about it openly. There was that video in the confession blogs, and when they were having a private conversation between each other. And, you know, I think that's totally valid. You can have private conversations with your partner or other friends, but then, you know, it mistakenly goes up. Like it's an embarrassing, you know, gaffe really at that point. But you know, it happens. And I just feel like I don't know, like to constantly, I see people still asking for the video. I'm like, guys, just let it go. Just let it go. Like I don't know what else they want. They apologize. You know, they don't have to, you know, whoever was wrong didn't have to accept it. But like, what is there anything that they can do to make things right with people? And I feel like even if they did, nobody would still accept it, you know? And I can't imagine what it's like to live like that, like, especially since they make their living from the doll hobby.
Yeah, what's sad is I've seen people straight just get bullied out of the doll hobby because of the confessions, and they've had lots of talent to bring to the hobby. Like, I don't know if you guys remember Denali Wind. I feel like she got bullied quite a lot on the confessions, and I don't really know why, like what the purpose of it was. I don't really feel like she had recasts or anything. I think people just were being haters. I don't even remember. They were just bullying on her because she was popular.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, I guess popularity comes with it.
yeah, like Denali Wynn, she came in later because I was in and out of the hobby for a bit, but I liked her videos and she's
They were pretty cute.
unproblematic. Yeah, like at best, like, you know, like no, even at the worst, like she's unproblematic at its worst. And I think she was a good collector of people liked watching her videos, but I don't know what happened there either. And it's just sad, really.
Yeah, because then you have people that would have been great additions to the hobby gone now because of just straight salt that was kind of unnecessary.
I feel like the situation with Shippy and he changed his name so I can Melon Pen.
Melon Pan Market.
Yeah, I think that their situation is because, well, first of all, it's COVID, so people are like just stay home more. So I guess they bored, and they just like, you know what, there's a target. We just use it as a scapegoat. And
Mhm.
secondly, I think it's because of how they handle the situation afterward.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was great, and it's probably the cause of more people just being like, oh my god, whatever they say, it's like a conspiracy.
It felt passive aggressive for sure, but it seemed also like people were just trying to get those kind of reactions.
I think
Yeah.
so. I think that there's a lot of enabling there because, whether you're bored at COVID, I don't think it's really an excuse to
Yeah.
do do anything on that level. But yeah, I don't know how you could. Like, I feel like it's hard for us to say because like what they each have almost like 20,000 like together, about 10,000 each followers, and I don't know how. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people, and that's a lot of like, I guess, commentary coming at you. And I think I'm really glad social media was not around when I was in my early 20s, not slash teens. We had live journal, but like if you ever sat back down and read your old live journals, like it's a very humbling, like embarrassing moment.
Oh
And
god.
I feel like
Flashbacks here.
yeah, exactly. And like one of the I was reading and I was like, oh no,
Oh no.
I was like, oh no. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like thinking I was so deep.
I can't believe I did this.
Yeah, I was so deep in my like teens and 20s. But like, and I would also respond passive aggressively. Like I remember, like I don't think maybe you guys remember, but back in the day, if someone like so my shithead ex, we were on MySpace, right? So if we got in a fight, he would always demote me on like his MySpace rankings, right? Like if we were on good terms. I was like #1 follower, but like if I wasn't, then he would move his brother up. And I feel like no. So I feel like but that's passive aggressive, right? But I can't imagine having so much at you that you don't feel compelled to respond. Like who can you talk to? Who can you vent it out to? You can vent to your partner who's on your side, which is good. But like I don't know, like with all the confessions, I don't know. I do feel kind of bad for them. Like I really do, because it's just I can't imagine it being good for your mental health at all. It's just
I
devastating,
don't
really.
think so.
I mean, I think in that case, the best thing you could do would be to just take a little bit of a social media break and then maybe just kind of reflect on it all and maybe handle it when you have a cooler head.
Yeah. Like whatever I feel like whatever they say in the middle of like a fire, it would just add more. It's like adding oil to it. It just keep burning stronger. It's like, all right, please stop. Like just take a break. Just stop using your phone for a little bit.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, it's hard too because they make their living selling doll products, and even though like a lot of the releases have just been like doll, product oriented, like it doesn't stop the confessions. And
Mhm.
I don't know, I really don't know if they can make anything right because people are just so damn unforgiving in this hobby. Like
Yeah.
they really are. Like it's so brutal, from recast to being reformed, but you know what I mean. Like from not having recasts to fighting people who own them in the past, and I guess outing them over something that happened a while ago. I would like to think people don't have any recasts, but I'm not naive like that, right? And we already talked about how it's easy to buy a recast because it's just a lot of things are not clear to a lot of people how to order them. You should research, I agree, but lots of people are impulsive. So I don't know. It's just this
Yeah,
hobby is pretty unforgiving.
especially I find do your research is not that easy in that hobby, because you really need to know what you're looking for to find it. And I mean, I was lucky. I was already following some BJD accounts,
Mhm.
and I knew what these dolls were. I knew they were minifays. I knew that they were from Fairyland, and I knew where to buy them. But it was more or less my curiosity that I clicked each and every tab on that homepage to find the a la carte menu. So I knew where to order them, because if you just go on the website and you see, oh, Minifay, there it is, and then it's all sold out, and like, okay, how do I buy them?
Yeah, it's so easy to get confused and think that maybe the full set's the only way you can buy the doll.
Yeah, and I mean, if you don't know where to look, yeah, and I find it kind of hard to find actual research, and also where to not buy. So you need to know what is a recast, so you can actually research it. So yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah, you already have to have a little bit of knowledge into this. Like you would have to know what is legit, what is recast, in order to actually do some like research on it. Could be rough for anyone who's just like brand new to the hobby.
For sure, definitely. So as we kind of wrap things up, let's spend the last 10 minutes of this call talking about what you can do to like get away from all of this, all right? All the bullying, all the witch hunts and all that. Like if you do experience it, or maybe you just want to break from the hobby, what are some self-care tips that you guys can practice, or that you would recommend to others to practice when it comes to this hobby?
Get away from social media for a while. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's obviously only working if you have other means of contacting people. If you have friends in real life, friends that you can reach, for example, like when I moved to my girlfriend, well, most of my friends were already living about an hour away, but now that's more like 4 hours. So that's not that easy sometimes. But it's okay. I can talk to them via Instagram, WhatsApp, whatever. But yeah, if you don't have that, I can imagine it's very hard.
Yeah, it makes sense because like when I actually for about 4 years into this hobby, I just felt like actual people who I can talk to about doll stuff. So like I know it's hard to be in the hobby when you don't actually know anyone. I used to live near Joko. By near I mean like 2 hours away. But like now she moves even further away. She's on like a whole different island. So like I'm lucky to have friends in the hobby. So what I would say to like prevent the whole bullying thing is just, I guess, try to make actual friends and not following people just because like they popular. Try to kiss ass them, because that's just add more dramas to it. Like once you have like some friends in the hobby that you can talk about like anything to, is a lot easier, and you know you're less salty about everything.
Oh yeah, having doll friends is nice too because they get it when you say like, "Oh, this thing's expensive, but I
Yeah.
gotta put it on my list and save up for it and get it."
Yeah,
You can't really like talk to non-collectors about that.
Yeah.
They're just like, "What are you saying?"
for sure. And I think like, you know, just with, I'm surprised I've already didn't unplug our Discord, but but you know, if you want people to talk to, I mean, we usually try to respond to everybody. I mean, just because we just like talking to people about dolls. But I have to agree with what Avari said, is that, you know, it's weird because Lena, I think you might remember this from a previous podcast, but we actually all started talking because of Avari getting scammed. And weirdly enough, that was the catalyst for a good friendship. Like, so, you know, happy ending there. But, you know, even with like Chaco and Scathe, like, you know, it's just nice being able to talk about dolls, but also there's, I think, a friendship that's not just only about dolls, where we can actually talk about our pets. And like today I was asking everybody, I'm like, have you guys like tasted your pet's food? Like just stuff like that too. And everyone's like, and Scathe was like, yeah, I totally did. And it was interesting. You know? So it's like, it's kind of cool that you can just like, in addition to dolls, like you have like, friends. And I think that's one thing that you should, always consider, that, with people who have high counts, like chances are they probably have their own circle. And there's a lot of people who are trying to reach out to them because they like the follower count. But other people, like, we have all modest, small followings, and we're just like, hey, we're chill, we're cool, we like to talk about dolls and life. And I think that's a good thing, that I don't feel like I have anything missing in my doll world, because I have my friends, I have my dolls. I'm good. I don't need anything else. And if I had to be off social media, I could always use a Discord, or I would just only, check the messages, which is typically what I do. I actually use Instagram more for the messages now than I do for the photos. And, other things like playing with your dolls, I think would be good self-care too. Just like, spending time with them, regardless of what people say. Honing a craft or hobby would be, other, suggestions to, improve what you like in the hobby, right? And do what you like.
You're in the hobby for yourself too. You're not in the hobby for likes and followers. It has to be because you like dolls.
I think that might be also like one of the source for like being salty, because people could be like, oh yeah, I put so much work into this, why doesn't anyone like it? And then they go attack other people, so like
Yeah. That actually reminds me, when I made a dress for one of my dolls, the one I liked was like this old age wedding dress. It looked distressed and like a dead bride kind of thing. And no one really liked that, but I made a prom dress and everybody did. I'm like, why are they liking the prom dress? I'm like, yeah, it's pretty, but I'm like, I was really proud about the other one, so you guys don't understand my affection for like dead things.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, it's cool. But other people are like, no, I want the pretty prom dress. I'm like, why?
No, definitely, like it's hard to find like that space where you're just contained with your stuff. It's rough.
Yeah,
That's
so
like I was touching on with the depth years, like doing stuff with your dolls versus just trying to seek like the buy something new feeling.
the rush you get from buying.
So,
Definitely. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for this episode. Do you have anything else you'd like to say, Lena, as our guest?
Thank you for inviting me.
good to have you.
It was
Fun.
yeah, I wanted to say that. Yes, it was cool.
No, we're glad to have you. I think it's a good vibe. Like, I'm glad you're, our guest, our first guest, and I think it added good energy and like good discussion. So yay, clap, clap, clap for Lena. So we'll have this up probably like not next week, but the week after. But yeah, so we'll have that there for you, and of course we'll timestamp everything. So that's pretty much it for this episode. If you have
Actually, join our Discord.
Yeah, okay, good. There we go. There we go. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Okay, beat me, Amari. We'd love to see you on the Discord, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
He's like, bye.